Chapter 4 Introduction to Internet. Hello students, welcome to the class. In this chapter, you will explore about History of Internet. What is Internet? Various services of Internet like email, FTP, Telnet, that is remote connection, World Wide Web, website, Uniform Resource Locator, Domain Name System, connecting to Internet, various Internet connection services like dial-up connection, DSL, cable line, satellite, 3G and 4G, modem, web browser, getting online, intranet, various network devices like hub, switch, bridge, router and gateway. History of Internet. Starting with the history of Internet. In its infancy, the Internet was originally conceived by the Department of Defense USA as a way to protect government communication systems in the event of a military strike. The original network, dubbed ARPANet for the Advanced Research Projects Agency that developed it, evolved into a communications channel among contractors, military personnel and university researchers who were contributing to ARPA projects. The network employed a set of standard protocols to create an effective way for these people to communicate and share data with each other. In the 1980s, the National Science Foundation, whose NSF-Net linked several high-speed computers, took charge of what had come to be known as the Internet. By the late 1980s, thousands of cooperating networks were participating in the Internet. In 1991, the US High Performance Computing Act established the NREN, that is, National Research and Education Network. NREN's goal was to develop and maintain high-speed networks for research and education, and to investigate commercial uses for the Internet. The popular name for the Internet is the Information Superhighway. Whether you want to find the latest financial news, browse through library catalogs, exchange information with colleagues, or join in a lively political debate, the Internet is the tool that will take you beyond telephones, faxes, and isolated computers to a burgeoning networked information frontier. Definition of Internet. Internet is a global computer network providing a variety of information and communication facilities, consisting of interconnected networks using standardized communication protocols. The connected computers belong to various agencies, such as government, universities, companies, individuals, etc. Most of the Internet services operate on the client-server model. A computer is a client if it is receiving files and is a server if it is sending files. To gain access to the Internet, most people open an account with an Internet service provider, that is ISP, in their areas. Here we will discuss four main services of Internet, that is email, FTP, Telnet and World Wide Web. Commonly called email is a method of exchanging digital messages from an author to one or more recipients. Email operates across the Internet or other computer networks. Benefits of email are one-to-one or one-to-many sending options. No need of physical presence of the recipients. Cost of sending emails is minimal. It is available 24/7. We will discuss about email sending process in detail in Chapter 5. FTP. The File Transfer Protocol, that is FTP, is a standard network protocol used to transfer computer files between a client and server on computer. It gives access to directories or folders on remote computers and allows software, data and text files to be transferred between different kinds of computers. FTP works on the basis of same principle as that of client server. FTP client is a program running on your computer that enables you to talk to and get stuff from remote computers. The FTP client takes FTP commands and sends them as requests for information from the remote computer, or known as FTP servers. To access remote FTP server, it is required but not necessary to have an account in the FTP server. When the FTP client gets connected, FTP server asks for the identification in terms of user login name and password of the FTP client. If one does not have an account in the remote FTP server, still he can connect to the server using anonymous login. Using anonymous login, anyone can log in to a FTP server and can access public file archives anywhere in the world without having an account. One can easily log in to the FTP site with the username anonymous and email address as password. FTP URL syntax is of the form FTP user password at host port URL path, where the bracketed parts are optional. For example, the URL FTP public.ftpservers.example.com my directory myfile.txt represents the file myfile.txt from the directory my directory on the server public.ftpservers.example.com as an FTP resource. Telnet, remote connection to a computer. Telnet is an application layer protocol used on the internet or local area networks to provide a bidirectional interactive text-oriented communication facility using a virtual terminal connection. Telnet uses available telecommunication facility and allows you to become a user on a remote computer. Once you gain access to the remote computer, you can use it for the intended purpose. The commands typed on the client computer are sent to the local internet service provider, that is ISP, and then from the ISP to the remote computer that you have gained access. Most of the ISP provides facility to Telnet into your own account from another city and check your email while you are traveling or away on business. World Wide Web. The World Wide Web, WWW, is an open source information space where documents and other web resources are identified by URLs, interlinked by hypertext links, and can be accessed via the internet. The World Wide Web was central to the development of the information age and is the primary tool billions of people use to interact on the internet. Individual document pages on the World Wide Web are called web pages and are accessed with a software application running on the user's computer, commonly called a web browser. Web pages may contain text, images, videos, and other multimedia components, as well as web navigation features consisting of hyperlinks. Difference between Internet and the World Wide Web. Internet and WWW. Both these terms are used interchangeably, but they are not synonymous. Internet can be termed as hardware part. It is a collection of computer networks connected through either copper wires, fiber optic cables, or wireless connections, whereas the World Wide Web can be termed as the software part. It is a collection of web pages connected through hyperlinks and URLs. World Wide Web is one of the services provided by the Internet. Website. A website is a related collection of World Wide Web, that is WWW files, that includes a beginning file called a homepage. A company or an individual tells you how to get to their website by giving you the address of their homepage. From the homepage, you can get to all the other pages on their site. Websites have many functions and can be used in various fashions. A website can be a personal website, a commercial website, a government website, or a non-profit organization website. Websites can be the work of an individual, a business, or other organization and are typically dedicated to a particular topic or purpose. Any website can contain a hyperlink to any other website, so the distinction between individual sites as perceived by the user can be blurred. Web pages can be viewed or otherwise accessed from a range of computer-based and internet-enabled devices of various sizes, including desktop computers, laptops, PDAs, and cell phones. A website is hosted on a computer system known as a web server, also called a HTTP server. Websites can be divided into two broad categories: static and dynamic. Static sites serve or capture information but do not allow engagement with the audience directly. Dynamic sites are part of the Web 2.0 community of sites and allow for interactivity between the site owner and site visitors. Nowadays, most of the corporate websites are dynamic in nature, which helps in better customer engagement and accurate tracking of consumer behavior. Uniform Resource Locator. A Uniform Resource Locator, that is URL, commonly referred to as a web address, is a reference to a web resource that specifies its location on a computer network and a mechanism for retrieving it. URLs occur most commonly to reference web pages, that is HTTP or HTTPS, but are also used for file transfer, that is FTP, email, mail to, database access, JDBC, and many other applications. Most web browsers display the URL of a web page above the page in an address bar. URL is a type of URI, that is Uniform Resource Identifier, that points to the physical resource over a network. URI is a string of characters used to identify a resource. URI can be either URL or URN, that is Uniform Resource Name, or both. URN is also a URI that identifies a resource by its name in a particular namespace. A typical example of URN is ISBN system, that is International Standard Book Number, for uniquely identifying books. Conceptually, you can say that URN functions like a person's name and URL resembles that person's street address. Just like your home, shop, or office, etc. have an address on internet, each resource also has an address and it is identified by the URL. Now let's understand the syntax of a URL through an example. http www.rkcl.in/index.html. URL starts with a protocol or scheme named like HTTP or HTTPS. A protocol defines the manner for interpreting computer information. Most of the internet pages use HTTP or HTTPS as the protocol. FTP and Telnet are also used for connecting to FTP site or connecting to remote site respectively. Protocol is followed by a colon and two backslashes in a URL. HTTP and HTTPS. HTTP, that is Hypertext Transfer Protocol, is an application protocol for distributed, collaborative, hypermedia information systems. HTTP is the foundation of data communication for World Wide Web. Hypertext is structured text that uses logical links, that is hyperlinks, between nodes containing text. HTTP is the protocol to exchange or transfer hypertext. HTTP functions as a request-response protocol in the client-server computing model. Protocol for secure communication over a computer network using HTTP is HTTPS, that is HTTP Secure. HTTPS consists of communication over HTTP within a connection encrypted by Transport Layer Security or its predecessor Secure Sockets Layer. The main motivation for HTTPS is authentication of the visited website and protection of the privacy and integrity of exchanged data. This is widely used on the internet, especially websites that use financial transactions or privacy data use HTTPS. Most of the banks have shifted from HTTP to HTTPS. Next comes the domain name www.rkcl.in in this case. It identifies the computer system that stores the information you seek. In this domain name, .in is the top-level domain. RKCL is the second-level domain. www stands for World Wide Web. In most URLs, this www can be omitted. Typing rkcl.in on address bar of a browser will also take you to RKCL's homepage. Few examples of TLDs, that is, top-level domains, are shared below for reference. Top-level domain .com. Original intended use commercial. Examples: www.yahoo.com and www.google.co.in. Top-level domain .edu. Original intended use educational institutions. Examples: www.met.edu. Top-level domain .ac. Original intended use academic institutions. Examples: www.vmou.ac.in. Top-level domain .gov. Original intended use government. Example: https rajasthan.gov.in. Top-level domain .net. Original intended use networking organizations or ISPs. Example: www.slideshare.net. Top-level domain .org. Original intended use non-profit organizations. Example: www.wikipedia.org. Top-level domain .in. Original intended use available to anyone. Example: www.ebay.in. A uniform resource locator, that is URL, commonly referred to as a web address, is a reference to a web resource that specifies its location on a computer network and a mechanism for retrieving it. URLs occur most commonly to reference web pages, that is HTTP or HTTPS, but are also used for file transfer, that is FTP, email, mail to, database access, JDBC, and many other applications. Most web browsers display the URL of a web page above the page in an address bar. URL is a type of URI, that is Uniform Resource Identifier, that points to the physical resource over a network. URI is a string of characters used to identify a resource. URI can be either URL or URN, that is Uniform Resource Name, or both. URN is also a URI that identifies a resource by its name in a particular namespace. A typical example of URN is ISBN system, that is International Standard Book Number, for uniquely identifying books. Conceptually, you can say that URN functions like a person's name and URL resembles that person's street address. Just like your home, shop or office etc. have an address, on internet each resource also has an address and it is identified by the URL. Now let's understand the syntax of a URL through an example. http www.rkcl.in/index.html. URL starts with a protocol or scheme named like HTTP or HTTPS. A protocol defines the manner for interpreting computer information. Most of the internet pages use HTTP or HTTPS as the protocol. FTP and Telnet are also used for connecting to FTP site or connecting to remote site respectively. Protocol is followed by a colon and 2 backslashes in a URL. HTTP and HTTPS. HTTP, that is Hypertext Transfer Protocol, is an application protocol for distributed, collaborative, hypermedia information systems. HTTP is the foundation of data communication for World Wide Web. Hypertext is structured text that uses logical links, that is hyperlinks, between nodes containing text. HTTP is the protocol to exchange or transfer hypertext. HTTP functions as a request-response protocol in the client-server computing model. Protocol for secure communication over a computer network using HTTP is HTTPS, that is HTTP Secure. HTTPS consists of communication over HTTP within a connection encrypted by Transport Layer Security or its predecessor Secure Sockets Layer. The main motivation for HTTPS is authentication of the visited website and protection of the privacy and integrity of exchanged data. This is widely used on the internet, especially websites that use financial transactions or privacy data use HTTPS. Most of the banks have shifted from HTTP to HTTPS. Next comes the domain name www.rkcl.in in this case. It identifies the computer system that stores the information you seek. In this domain name, .in is the top level domain. RKCL is the second level domain. www stands for World Wide Web. In most URLs, this www can be omitted. Typing rkcl.in on address bar of a browser will also take you to RKCL's homepage. Few examples of TLDs, that is, top-level domains, are shared below for reference. Top-level domain .com. Original intended use commercial. Examples: www.yahoo.com and www.google.co.in. Top-level domain .edu. Original intended use educational institutions. Examples: www.mit.edu. Top-level domain .ac. Original intended use academic institutions. Examples: www.vmou.ac.in. Top-level domain .gov. Original intended use government. Example: https rajasthan.gov.in. Top-level domain .net. Original intended use networking organizations or ISPs. Example: www.slideshare.net. Top-level domain .org. Original intended use non-profit organizations. Example: www.wikipedia.org. Top-level domain .in. Original intended use available to anyone. Example: www.ebay.in. Next component of URL is file path, which is preceded by the backslash, that is index.html in this case. Even if you don't enter the file path, domain name will redirect you to the default page of the website, and you can click on various links to navigate to the desired file or web page. Subdomain. Another component of a URL is subdomain. For URL https://mail.rkcl.in. Mail is the subdomain. Domain name system. Now let's further understand what this domain name system actually is. The domain name system, that is DNS, is the way that internet domain names are located and translated into Internet Protocol addresses. A domain name is a meaningful and easy to remember handle for an internet address. The domain name system, that is DNS, is a hierarchical distributed naming system for computers, services, or any resource connected to the internet or a private network. Most prominently, it translates domain names, which can be easily memorized by humans, to the numerical IP addresses needed for the purpose of computer services and devices worldwide. The domain name system is an essential component of the functionality of most internet services because it is the internet's primary directory service. DNS is an internet service that translates domain name into IP addresses. Because domain names are alphabetic, they are easier to remember. The internet, however, is really based on IP addresses. Every time you use a domain name, therefore, a DNS service must translate the name into the corresponding IP address. For example, the domain name www.example.com might translate to 198.105.232.4. Tip: if a URL is too long, you can use URL shorteners to create short links for such URL. Popular URL shorteners are Google's goo.gl, tiny.cc, etc. Connecting to Internet. Once you have set up your computer, you'll probably want to get Internet access so you can send and receive emails, browse the web, watch movies, and can do much more. Before you can access the Internet, there are three things you need: an Internet service, a modem, and a web browser. Internet connection service. For accessing Internet, first thing you need to do is to take an Internet connection service from any Internet service provider, that is ISP, whose services are available in your area. You can talk to your friends, relatives, or neighbors to see which ISPs they use. You need to consider many factors before finalizing ISP. For example, if you are planning to take a broadband connection, you need to research on the plans available for different service providers like BSNL, Airtel, Tata, MTS, etc. Many service providers have online interactive forms, which help you choose the best plan as per your speed or data usage requirements, budget, etc. Internet service providers, that is ISPs, usually offer different levels of speed based on your needs. If you are mainly using the internet for email and social networking, a slower connection might be all you need. However, if you want to download a lot of music or watch streaming movies, you'll want a faster connection. You'll need to do some research to find out what the options are in your area. Here are some common types of internet service. Dial-up connection. Dial-up is generally the slowest type of internet connection and mostly obsolete nowadays. Like a phone call, a dial-up modem will connect you to the internet by dialing a number, and it will disconnect when you are done surfing the web. It is a service that allows connectivity to the internet through a standard telephone line. By connecting the telephone line to the modem in your computer and inserting the other end into the phone jack and configuring the computer to dial a specific number provided by your internet service provider, that is ISP, you are able to access the internet on your computer. With dial-up internet, you cannot use the phone and search the web at the same time. It is because one end of the telephone is linked to the modem and the other end is in the phone outlet. ISDN, Integrated Service Digital Network. Integrated Services for Digital Network, that is ISDN, is a set of communication standards for simultaneous digital transmission of voice, video, data, and other network services over the traditional circuits of the public switched telephone network. The key feature of ISDN is that it integrates speech and data on the same lines, adding features that were not available in the classic telephone system. ISDN is a circuit-switched telephone network system which also provides access to packet-switched networks, designed to allow digital transmission of voice and data over ordinary telephone copper wires, resulting in potentially better voice quality than an analog phone can provide. Integrated services refer to ISDN's ability to deliver at minimum 2 simultaneous connections in any combination of data, voice, video, and fax over a single line. Multiple devices can be attached to the line and used as needed. DSL, Digital Subscriber Line. DSL service uses a broadband connection which makes it much faster than dial-up. However, it is unavailable in many locations, so you'll need to contact your local ISP for information about your area. DSL connects to the internet via phone line, but does not require you to have a landline at home. Unlike dial-up, it will always be on once it's set up and you'll be able to use the internet and your phone line simultaneously. DSL, that is Digital Subscriber Line, is a technology for bringing high bandwidth information to homes and small businesses over ordinary copper telephone lines. In telecommunications marketing, the term DSL is widely understood to mean a symmetric digital subscriber line, that is ADSL, the most commonly installed DSL technology for internet access. The bit rate of consumer DSL services typically ranges from 256 kilobyte per second to over 100 megabytes per second in the direction to the customer downstream, depending on DSL technology, line conditions, and service line implementation. Using a DSL, digital data is transmitted to your computer directly as digital data, and this allows the phone company to use a much wider bandwidth for transmitting it to you. Cable line. Cable service connects to the internet via cable TV. Although you do not necessarily need to have cable TV in order to get it. It uses a broadband connection and can be faster than both dial-up and DSL service. However, it is only available in places where cable TV is available. Companies like Hathway offer these services. A cable modem is a type of network bridge and modem that provides bi-directional data communication via radio frequency channels on a hybrid fiber coaxial, that is HFC, and radio frequency infrastructure. Cable modems are primarily used to deliver broadband internet access in the form of cable internet, taking advantage of the high bandwidth network. A cable modem is a device that enables you to hook up your PC to a local cable TV line and receive data at about 1.5 Mbps. This data rate far exceeds that of the prevalent 28.8 and 56 kbps telephone modems and the up to 128 kbps of Integrated Services Digital Network, that is ISDN, and is about the data rate available to subscribers of Digital Subscriber Line, that is DSL telephone service. A cable modem can be added to or integrated with a set-top box that provides your TV set with channels for internet access. In most cases, cable modems are furnished as part of the cable access service and are not purchased directly and installed by the subscriber. In addition to the faster data rate, an advantage of cable over telephone internet access is that it is a continuous connection. A satellite connection uses broadband but does not require cable or phone lines. It connects to the internet through satellites orbiting the Earth. As a result, it can be used almost anywhere in the world. But the connection may be affected by weather patterns. A satellite connection also relays data on a delay. So, it is not the best option for people who use real-time applications like gaming or video conferencing. 3G and 4G. 3G and 4G service is most commonly used with mobile phones and tablet computers, and it connects wirelessly through your ISP's network. If you have a device that's 3G or 4G enabled, you'll be able to use it to access the internet away from home using the network provider, even when there is no Wi-Fi connection. Modem. Once you have got an internet connection from your ISP, next thing you need to access internet is a modem, which is a device or program that enables a computer to transmit data over, for example, telephone or cable lines. Computer information is stored digitally, whereas information transmitted over telephone lines is transmitted in the form of analog waves. A modem converts between these two forms. Modem is abbreviation for modulator, demodulator. The type of internet access you choose will determine the type of modem you need. Dial-up access uses a telephone modem. DSL service uses a DSL modem. Cable access uses a cable modem. And satellite service uses a satellite adapter. A modem modulates outgoing digital signals from a computer or other digital device to analog signals for a conventional copper twisted pair telephone line and demodulates the incoming analog signal and converts it to a digital signal for the digital device. The modems are of various types. Internal modem. Internal modem is a device installed in the desktop or laptop computer to communicate over a network with other connected computers. These are cheaper than external modems as they do not require power supply or a chassis. There are two types of internal modems: dial-up and Wi-Fi, that is wireless fidelity. Dial-up works on the telephone cables and requires a network access phone number and logon credentials to make a connection. And Wi-Fi modem connects to the network without filling these credentials. External modem. External modems are the simplest type of the modem to install. The telephone line plugs into a socket on the rear panel of the modem. As external modems have their own power supply, you can turn off the modem quickly to break the connection. The examples of these modems are the DSL modems, which are used in the broadband connections. Web browser. A web browser is a software application used to locate, retrieve, and display content on the World Wide Web, including web pages, images, video, and other files. As a client or server model, the browser is the client run on a computer that contacts the web server and requests information. The web server sends the information back to the web browser, which displays the results on the computer or other internet-enabled device that supports a browser. Today's browsers are fully functional software suites that can interpret and display HTML web pages, applications, JavaScript, and other content hosted on web servers. Web browsers consist of a user interface, layout engine, rendering engine, JavaScript interpreter, UI backend, networking component, and data persistence component. For many years, Microsoft Internet Explorer was the most popular and widely used browsers. Starting mid-2000s, many other browsers were introduced like Google Chrome, Firefox, Apple Safari, and Opera. Now, let's understand the basic user interface of a browser. Here, we will use Google Chrome browser to understand it. Most major web browsers have these user interface elements in common, though names can be different. Back and forward buttons to go back to the previous resource or website and forward respectively. A refresh or reload button to reload the current resource website. A stop button to cancel loading the resource. In some browsers, the stop button is merged with the reload button. A home button to return to the user's home page. An address bar to input the URL or web address of the desired resource and display it. A search bar to input terms into a search engine. In some browsers, the search bar is merged with the address bar. When you want to search anything, you can directly enter it in the address bar, and search engine will automatically detect it. A status bar to display progress in loading the resource and also the URL of links when the cursor hovers over them, and page zooming capability. The viewport, the visible area of the web page within the browser window, which features the scroll bar in case web page height is more than that of display screen. Option to add bookmarks or favorites, which acts as shortcuts for frequently accessed web pages. Tabs for opening multiple web pages simultaneously. You can view the HTML source for a page using browser. Major browsers also possess incremental find features to search within a web page. Most browsers support HTTP secure and offer quick and easy ways to delete the web cache, download history, form and search history, cookies and browsing history. Settings for customizing your web browser. If you use the internet frequently, then it is advisable to change its appearance, modify toolbars, and even install add-ons as per your preferences. Customization in browser can make using your browser easier and more user-friendly. Most common customizations that you should do in your browser are setting a default search engine, set the home page, add bookmarks, set up theme of your browser, that is, third-party themes can also be downloaded. Tip: for Windows and Android operating systems based devices, recommended browser is Google Chrome. You should set it as your default browser, as it is much more convenient due to seamless integration with other Google-based services. For Mac and iPhone devices, Safari is the most recommended browser. Getting online. When you have all the things set up, that is Internet Connection Service, modem and browser, you need to do some basic settings on your personal computer in order to access Internet. To connect a Wi-Fi network, select the network icon on the taskbar. Select the Wi-Fi network you want. Connect. Then type the password and follow the instructions. That's it. You are connected. This icon will appear in the taskbar. After you are connected, you are ready to browse the web. If Wi-Fi is not available, you can use the Ethernet cables also. Just connect your PC to your router or modem and you are ready to browse the web. Intranet. You must have come across another term which sounds similar to Internet. That is intranet. But these are not same. An intranet is a private network accessible only to an organization's staff. Generally, wide range of information and services from the organization's internal IT systems are available that would not be available to the public from the internet. An intranet's websites look and act just like any other websites. But the firewall surrounding an intranet restricts unauthorized access. Internet versus intranet. The Internet is the global World Wide Web, while an intranet is a private Internet operating within a company. Both the Internet and an intranet use TCP/IP protocol as well as features like email and typical World Wide Web standards. One main difference is that users of an intranet can get on the Internet. But due to protection measures like computer firewalls, global Internet users cannot get onto an intranet unless they have access to it. In fact, an intranet can be run without an Internet connection. Internet is more general, spreads to a larger population, provides a better access to all web-based services and thus is pretty user-friendly. Intranet is a far safer and secure privatized version of Internet. Solely for the purpose of communication, intranet is an economic method to keep the organization's communication structured, allowing quick data exchange round the clock all the year. Network devices. At last, let's learn about various network devices which help to connect one or more computers to the Internet or intranet. A network device is a tool whose main function is easy access to the Internet services such as www or email. A variety of devices are used to connect network of a computer. We will discuss the most common devices now. Hub. A hub is a common connection point for devices in a network. Hubs are commonly used to connect segments of a LAN. A hub contains multiple ports. When a packet arrives at one port, it is copied to the other ports so that all segments of the LAN can see all packets. Typically, a network hub is used for a private network, one that does not have any connections to sources other than local computers, meaning no internet access. Additionally, network bandwidth is split between all of the connected computers. So, more the computer that is connected, the less bandwidth that is available for each computer, which means slower connection speeds. Switch. A network switch, also called switching hub, bridging hub, is a computer networking device that connects devices together on a computer network by using packet switching to receive, process and forward data to the destination device. By using packet switching to receive, process and forward data to the destination device. Unlike network hubs, a network switch, which is more advanced than hub, forwards data only to one or multiple devices that need to receive it. rather than broadcasting the same data out of each of its ports. Bridge. A bridge is used to join two network segments together. It allows computers on either segment to access resources on the other. They can also be used to divide large networks into smaller segments. Router. A network router is quite different from a switch or hub, since its primary function is to route data packets to other networks, instead of just the local computers. A router is quite common to find in homes and businesses, since it allows your network to communicate with other networks, including the internet. Routers perform the traffic directing functions on the internet. A data packet is typically forwarded from one router to another through the networks that constitute the internetwork until it reaches its destination node. Gateway. A network gateway is an internetworking system capable of joining together two networks that use different base protocols. A network gateway can be implemented completely in software, completely in hardware, or as a combination of both. A gateway is one of the many ways our data is moved over the web for us. The gateway gives us entry into different networks, so we can send email, look at web pages, buy things online, and more. You can easily say that gateways deliver the freedom, information, and convenience we enjoy online. Most common use of gateways is seen in e-commerce, where banks use a secure payment gateway for transacting payments.